Hey there, everybody doing? It's been a little while since I did a show, and I meant to do one about this topic right after I saw the film. This film, The Good House, stars Sigourney Weaver and Kevin Kline, and it takes place in New England, and she plays a real estate agent, someone who's drinking too much, and she has her children, adult children, that are trying to get her to go to rehab. And when I saw the ad for it, I thought, oh, the chances are like really high that they're going to go to AA, right? That this is going to go to AA. And because they all do. Okay, that's where it goes. But I've never heard anything about Sigourney Weaver's involvement in Alcoholics Anonymous. And I still have no idea. Like, did she do it because this is an interesting story or whatever? So, hi, Julie. Hi. Hi. Thanks for joining. Decided election day, I'm going to do a couple of videos to catch up with what I want to talk about. So this is a huge problem because just a few days ago, there was a young guy who died of, I believe, drug overdose, musician, famous child, performer. And what happens in they do it for the money. Oh, yeah, I don't know. It's just I think it's about power and control and about being right. I think AA and the people who are in AA and in Hollywood or wherever they are. Look at the hair. It's pouring here. It's so great that it's rain. We need the rain here really badly. Oh wow, I can't believe there's people actually finding this. But I just decided, I want to do this one, and I'm going to do something about the vow after this. So I don't plan on doing something super long right now, but we'll see how it goes. The movie was so good. First of all, Sigourney Weaver and Kevin Kline together, they were funny. She's funny. And through the film, and there's spoiler alerts. I'm just going to talk about it. And if you haven't seen it, then maybe you want to watch it. Maybe you don't. But through the movie, there's this guy who sits outside a coffee shop. So imagine it's this like New England town. It's either Massachusetts or Connecticut, or I think I forget where it took place, but it's one of these towns that's on the water. And Kevin Kline plays a really down to earth guy, and she, she's just struggling financially and has helped her kids. And we know that there's, she's gone to rehab and now she's like pretending she's not drinking, and then she drinks downstairs. And so you think that they're finally going to go a different way, right? They're going to not tell this AA narrative again, like 80 years later, when it's like such a failure. Okay, but whatever. So I'm hoping. And then there's this guy who sits, an old guy, looks totally like a stepper, sitting outside this coffee shop. And he's like, makes these remarks, and you realize, he is, telling you should come to a meeting. And like, we all know now what a meeting is. Like, they don't even have to explain anymore. It's so in the lexicon of American culture, right? Don't worry about your hair. Thanks. Well, I had to get it done because I got it highlighted, and then it like got really brassy and like way over the top. So she had to put some toner on it, tone it down, and so we toned it down. And then because I got it done, I was like, oh, I can do a show now because I don't look like, crazy lady with this wild curly hair. So anyway, but thank you, Julie, for saying that. Welcome to a few people that are in the chat room here. It's always good to see people out there as well. All right, so there's this guy sitting out there, totally looks like the stepper dude, been around forever. And he's actually telling her that if she comes to the meeting, she's going to make connections. She's going to, maybe find a client and, find, oh my God, drum up business, this whole bullshit with AA and connections, whatever. And, they have a lot of connections. There's people that it works for and people it doesn't work for. Yeah, so whatever. All right, so The Good House got on the Rotten Tomatoes, it's got 71% from the critics and 76% from people who watched it. Now, the day that I went to see this film, it was not very crowded. I think it was in the afternoon. I was in West LA. The theater was, pretty sparse, pretty sparse. And it seemed to me like there were a lot of like women friends there, perhaps steppers themselves out there going to watch about how she's going to wind up going to AA. So throughout the film, I'm thinking like rooting for her, like, no, like you really don't have a problem. Like, look, you can drink, you can have a glass or two. Um, but then it sort of takes a turn and I'm going, this doesn't look good. I think she's going to wind up like having a problem. And then you're going to wind up in AA. But please, God, like, can it be something else, right? And so what happens is that, no, it's not. And just like, was that a Flight with Denzel Washington? It made it all the way. And it was almost like it went all the way till she winds up in a meeting at the end of the movie. But as I was watching it, and I couldn't even get pissed off anymore. Like, thank God I don't get that angry. I just go like, really? Like, okay, I guess I have to make another film or make a limited series so that people can find out that there's other options besides this horseshit kind of ridiculous thing from the 30s that is still being touted as some kind of treatment, which we know it's not treatment. And it isn't really a support group anymore. I mean, yeah, you could find a good support group somewhere. Yeah, there's probably some good meetings. Of course there are. There's some good cops, there's some bad cops, there's only good firemen, right? I mean, but I'm just like, really, guys? Like, so anyway, Julie, we got to laugh, right? We got to laugh because I can't get that mad anymore like I did when I made the first film. One just has to, I don't know, pick my battles, pick what's important. Can we make change? Can we, can this happen? And after watching The Vow, which after this, I'm doing a thing on The Vow, which is a limited series that's exposing the Keith Raniere cult NXIVM. And what's going on there is that there are people actually leaving AA watching that. And they're coming into the Facebook group. So it proves that what I said to my husband last night is that the thing that's so fabulous about The Vow, and I'm just going to talk a little bit about it, is that when people sit there and watch it, they're going to wake up. And so it's going to help people leave all kinds of cults. I mean, it's really insane what's gone on there. But there is also really insane stuff that's gone on in AA, which I'll talk about there. So anyway, there I went off on that tangent, and that's okay. Because do they interlink? Yeah, because I go, oh my God, we need a limited series or, about rehab. I think if you link rehab and sober living, then you can say, okay, this is not the only ending. Like, why couldn't Sigourney have gone to, I don't know, a clinic where she does psilocybin and treatments with doctors that she sits there with? Why couldn't she be given naltrexone like Claudia Christian used and talks about in her film, The One Little Pill? There's other medications. There are actually non-AA treatment centers out there. There's not a ton of them, but there's still some. And so it's sort of like, what is the deal? So what I did think as I was leaving the theater, I thought, they really kept the whole AA thing to the end. And so I thought to myself, maybe she, or, and I'm just guessing here, but maybe somebody said, if you start in with this AA, those people are going to get up and leave. Like, they're just going to like say, oh, come on, like, enough with this AA shit. At the end of every story when somebody's over drinking or has problematic alcohol use, right? So I did think that there was discussion, or I felt as someone who lives here in Hollywood and somebody who's been in AA, left AA, and sees what goes on, that maybe somebody at the table, whether it's a producer, maybe it was Sigourney, maybe it was Kevin Kline, maybe it was a group of them, has said, let's not have her go until the very end so that you don't piss off everybody along the way, because the story is a good story, even though the children are super annoying. Like, they know everything. There's like always like, it's the reason that a lot of children, a lot of young people who are now in their 20s and 30s, and even some adults have died by the families pushing them into A cult. Alcoholics Anonymous is absolutely, I call it a baby cult. Some in some places like the Pacific Group, the Atlantic Group, these are cult groups. Anything where people are telling you that kind of stuff, and also in the Facebook groups that we have, and I'll mention we have Leaving AA and Deprogramming from AA. The stories that we're hearing now are so horrific with the level of control that sponsors and the people in the meetings are doing to their sponsees, which, I mean, I saw some of, a little bit of in the 70s, but they were much less hands-on and pushy because they were trying to get people to join. And so in the 70s, it was the biggest growth period that Alcoholics Anonymous made. But again, back to the movie. Uh, I give it a hesitant thumbs up because I laughed a lot. I loved the way she played the character, her intelligence. There was a lot of great stuff going on. And I loved the way Kevin Kline and the dynamic, and he was more of a pot smoker, and he was not a stepper pusher either. You know, he said he liked her better when she wasn't drunk, which is nothing to do with that, with AA and that, you know. And I'm glad you're enjoying this, Julie, and laughing, because what else are we going to do, right? So I think that this is a good enough video about the Good House. So I would recommend seeing it, and then, you know, maybe everybody can write a letter to I don't know who, or tweet and say there are other options to end a movie with. Alcohol. It's not the days of wine and roses. This is not 1963. It is not 1981. That right in, I just pulled it up. There's a story in the Washington Post, which maybe I'll do another video just very specifically about that. The Washington Post, it says, why aren't there more ways to treat alcoholism? And it really caught my eye, and I started reading it really quickly. They're talking about pills and looking to psilocybin to help. Yeah, and would love to talk to this guy. I think he's opened up a clinic so that people can use that, and I definitely know people that have used it, and it was very, very effective. Let's see. Oh, there's some. Hey, oh my God, Tom, it's been a long time since we've talked. The Deborah comments that I'll have to watch that sometime. A retired police officer. What are you saying, Julie? Let's see. And I'm going to say hi. There you go. Hi, everyone. Let's see, spelling. Oh my God. There we go. Okay. So, any questions you want to put out there? I would love to do. I think it would be kind of cool if we did a Zoom that we recorded to talk about the vow, about how it is helping people leave and what are the similarities. I reached out to a little bit culty to see if I could be interviewed on there. I love what they're doing. They're amazing, the two of them. I do really like Bonnie and Mark, and I think it's Sarah, and I think it's Nippy. Yeah, it's super cool that they're doing. All the police officers are now going, oh my God, all the police officers, somebody's writing in the chat room, are now going to AA. You know what? It's so bad. So I found out that when I was making the film, and I went down to City Hall, and there was a guy behind the desk, and I went to the mayor's office to leave some information, and the guy at the desk told me that, you know, he couldn't be on duty or something because he got into trouble, and so he was doing a desk job. But where I really found it out was that there was a police officer who got a DUI, and in the story, he was sent to AA and he killed himself. Yeah. And so then I found out there, let me see, what did she say? You can't even go to the police station to file a report without the police officer telling me about AA. Wow. Have you done that, Julie? Well, maybe we could talk in the group and you could tell me more. Yeah, it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. And although I really wanted to be done and did not want to have to make another film or make a limited series, or write a book. I do want to. I would like to write a book, but I don't know if I'm disciplined enough to do that. But I think that um, the film part, which I started to make a documentary about rehab and sober living and how that wasn't working and how corrupt it was and how deadly it was because I was talking to so many mothers. In the fall of 2019, I have so much footage, and then COVID came, and I just, I mean, I live here in California. I live in La La Land. It's like absolutely, I don't know, how I'm still here, but I'm still here. I have a grandson that got born in December of 2020, so I'm not going to leave that little guy. I am seriously bonding with him. Let's see. Our police, Tom says, our police a new kind of two-hatter. Yeah. Well, it's not good. It's not good at all. But when I found out that governors, there was the governor of Texas who was an outed stepper, the head of probation, the entire, like the big top part, she's a stepper. She was. I don't know if she still has the job. We've had senators, we've had mayors. The mayor of Boston was a stepper. So they've really learned to climb big time. And AA has been in Washington since the 1940s. I think it was Senator Hughes and very, very, I mean, Marty Mann was so into, it's getting off of this topic. So I think I'm going to wrap it up. So, I'm reading the comments and I get distracted. So I think that the people, the power got in there so long ago, and they just played the game right. And to say that there weren't any solutions in the beginning were somewhat true, but there were hospitals where, I mean, Bill W. went to a hospital, Towns Hospital, where they treated alcohol use disorder, then calling it alcoholism. And, I think that Bill and I mean, I'm not really sure how the cocktail got formed with belladonna and a very strong sedative that really went on for 3 days. That is where psilocybin is working, and that was a hallucinogen. Belladonna is a very strong hallucinogen, and they were on very strong, um, you know, not depressants, but yeah, I guess so. But things that make people pass out and sleep for 3 days. So when you wake up, you're not going to go through any DTs, and that was a good thing, and that's probably what made anyone who that worked for. But the idea of being powerless and being that way forever is like really a problem. It's really a problem. So anyway, thank you guys. I'm going to end this one and then I'm going to start another one really quick because I'm on a roll. I've been waiting to feel the energy to do it. I haven't been up to doing it because I was just so drained to stuff that was going on here. So all right. Nice to see you, Tom. It's been a long time. I hope you're good. And Julie, and there was someone else in the chat room. And I'm gonna save this and put it up, and then I'm gonna do another one. Okay, see you in a couple minutes.